What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I have a prime example of just how stubborn humans can be when it comes to introducing animals to an area. Alright, so this video is over the European starling, okay? And European starlings essentially were brought to America solely because somebody in their brain, I guess there was like a whole society of people or a group of people in New York that wanted America to have all of the animals that Shakespeare talks about in his plays, which is a horrible idea. Shakespeare is from Europe. Those animals shouldn't have been brought here. They don't belong here. And the European starling is one of those things that's like just so encapsulates just how stubborn you can be. Because this was a bird that they brought over here, right? They brought a flock, tried to introduce it, and all of them died. And what do they do instead of giving up? They just try again and again and again until one flock manages to make it, and all of the starlings we have in the United States are now descended from that one flock. So yeah, like this is just a great example, in my opinion, of just how stubborn humans can be in general when it comes to something that we want to do. But I did find, the article is pretty interesting, and it is kind of interesting how the birds are actually managing to make it. So yeah, I'm hoping we can just go ahead and still kind of enjoy it for what it is. And before we get into that, guys, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Instagram, leave a comment down below with what you guys think about the article if you make it all the way through, and turn on those notification bells so that way you never miss a video from me. And without further ado, guys, let's get into this article.
Alright guys, I gotta say this again, sorry Twitch. Once again, guys, like I always like to say, I don't own the rights to this article. This is actually from NYIS.info. That's New York Invasive Species. And if you guys want, go over there and show them some love, or just stick around to the end of the article and we're gonna read this thing together. The New York Invasive Species, the European starling. Alright, background. So the European starling, Sturnus vulgarius. These birds are so bad, they're literally named vulgar. I don't know if that should make them feel good or not. Is a native to Europe and then was introduced into other countries around the world, including North America. European starlings have a glossy black appearance and are commonly found in large flocks whose flying is synchronized. About 100 starlings were first introduced by Shakespeare enthusiasts in 1890 in Central Park, New York, and are now one of the most abundant birds in North America with a population of approximately 200 million. They are found across the entire United States and compete with native species as well as destroy crops. So there's 200 million of them, and they descended from 100 birds. That is insane. Like, just that goes to show it doesn't take very many for something to just take off in an area. That's what they look like too. I mean, I saw these things all over Virginia when I was there. That was the bird you saw. So they got a native range is Europe and Southeast Asia and Northern Africa. So that's kind of cool. Habitat. European starlings are well adapted to living in a variety of environments. Starlings are ground foragers that feed on a variety of insects in the soil as well as various seeds and fruits available. They tend to prefer open grassland or habitats with low trees and shrub cover. During the breeding season, starlings will nest in cavities such as holes in trees or other protected spaces. Starlings are very well adapted to disturbance and can be found in rural and urban environments. So basically, these things can just live in cities indefinitely, which is probably why they're doing so well. I would bet, granted, there's probably a lot of them around farmland and things in the country. I bet you the big flocks are probably all living in or near cities. That's probably just how it all goes. Introduction and spread. European starlings were intentionally introduced into the United States in Central Park, New York, because those admiring the works of Shakespeare wanted to see all the birds mentioned in his creations represented in North America. One of the contributors to the success of this invasive species is the starling's flexibility in habitat selection. Starlings are prolific breeders, producing on average 1 to 2 clutches per year with 4 to 6 eggs per clutch. For each nesting pair, eggs are incubated for approximately 12 days before hatching, and then it takes about 3 weeks for nestlings to fledge. Starlings can live for approximately 2 to 3 years or more. So every 2 to 3 years, they're having a lot of eggs. Impacts. The damage caused by European starlings on agricultural industry was estimated to be approximately $800 million per year at a $5 per hectare. $800 million destroyed by birds. Due to the flocking nature of starlings and being well adapted in urban settings, roosts near airports have become a large problem. If a plane flies through a large flock of starlings, the birds can get caught in the jet engines, causing damage to the aircraft as well as pose a hazard to humans. Additionally, in urban and rural settings, birds may seek shelter in barns and industrial buildings and create a lot of noise and filth which pose health hazards. All I'm getting out of that is a flock of birds is taking out airplanes. Like, that's fun. I mean, yeah, like all birds crap is like dangerous for humans. Like, there's so many diseases in bird poop. It's not even funny. Ecologically, starlings may outcompete native cavity nesting birds for nest sites. While there are no significant results indicating species decline for all native cavity nesters due to starlings, Coing, 2003, did find that certain species, such as native sapsuckers, were negatively impacted by starling presence. Starlings are also frugivorous, meaning they feed on fruits of plants. When fruits pass through the system of a bird after being ingested, it may increase the likelihood that those seeds will germinate. In some cases, a study done in 2009 found that the digestive system of starlings will increase seed germination after feeding on invasive Ottoman olive and invasive oriental bittersweet fruit, and that is the seed stayed inside the starlings long enough for dispersal to occur. Starlings look similar and have a short, square tail with a slender yellow beak. Their wings are pointed and triangular. The plumage of a European starling is a glossy black with green, purple, blue, or bronze iridescence. In the fall, starlings may have a spotty appearance after molting, but the spots on their wingtips wearing away by spring. Male and females look similar, however, the female may have a slightly duller appearance. Additionally, in the breeding season, the lower mandible of the beak in males will appear blue-gray and pinkish in females. Starlings are noisy birds, making many clicks, whistles, rattles, squeaks, and sounds mimicking those from the environment or songs from other birds. Prevention and control. To prevent further spread of European starlings, eggs and nests can be destroyed before the nestlings are able to fledge. Sticky polybutane materials may also be placed in roosting sites to deter birds from landing on a specific area. The most common for removing already established flocks of starlings from an area is to frighten or harass the birds using propane exploders, pyrotechnics, hawk kites, and ultrasonic sounds. However, using these harassing techniques for control produces only temporary results, as the birds may come back once the control methods are stopped or once they are no longer frightened by them. There are chemicals that have been used that simulate erratic behavior in birds that ingest it, which frightens other birds away and eventually kills the consumer. Other toxic chemicals or starlicides can be used, which poison the birds and are lethal within 1 to 3 days. However, non-target birds, such as native songbirds, hawks, and owls, may also be affected if they consume the toxins. Typically, these chemicals are quickly metabolized and are excreted, which reduces effects on organisms higher in the food chain that consumes the birds. When using any chemical, remember to read and follow the directions on the label. European starlings are native to Europe and in parts of Asia and Africa. They were introduced into North America, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. Starlings are now found across the United States in Bahamas, Central America, Yucatan Peninsula, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and Cuba. That is nuts. Thanks. She's a real handful when she wants to be, though.
Well, guys, that was pretty much this prime example on how European starlings ended up in America, and just straight up the stubbornness of us as humans for actually making them establish a thing there. And now 100 birds went from 100 to like millions, and yeah, like, so the genetics aren't that great. Like, if you were to check a starling in California and one that's in Florida, they would be genetically like identical. There is no variation, or there's not enough variation because they came from a relatively small population. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't really seem to affect them, obviously, because there's millions of them. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just an interesting story that, you know, this was the thing that made all of that, just like, in my opinion, like, sums it up. Like, if we want something to get here, we're gonna get it here pretty much no matter what. But yeah, guys, like I always say though, please drop a comment down below with what you guys think, and leave a like on the video. Follow me on here as well as on Instagram, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.